Godzilla is huge, towering over our world in a way never before seen. The king of the monsters is just that, the most popular monster of all time. But there are a whole heap of creatures, monsters, and gods from other pop culture franchises and from the myths around our globe that dwarf Godzilla. Godzilla fans will know that the big guy's size has been anything but consistent, with the shortest being over 100 feet tall and the largest coming in nearly 10 times that. Godzilla Earth is the largest take on the Big G-Man, but for the sake of continuity in our current times, we will be using Legendary's Godzilla that will be appearing in Godzilla vs. Kong. At 400 feet tall, MonsterVerse Godzilla is giant beyond belief, but just wait till you see the other monsters. Before we start the video, I just want to let you lovely residents know that we recently released new merch over at our Teespring store like coffee mugs, long sleeve shirts, jackets, and hoodies. Perfect for the fall season and impending freeze of winter, so feel free to go get something special for yourself or someone else in your life. Now back to the video, let's get to it. Just to give the heads up here, this list is in no particular order, so on that note, our first monster that dwarfs Godzilla is one fellow monster movie fans will enjoy, the adult Clover monster from Cloverfield. Through the entirety of Cloverfield, we get to see the infant Clover monster rampaging around and causing an unprecedented amount of damage. But this was just the baby. A quick glimpse of the adult Clover shown that this monster could be seen out the window of an airplane. Judging how its head is in the literal clouds, that puts the adult Clover monster in at the very least 6,000 feet tall, with the highest it could reach going nearly all the way up to 30,000 feet. That's literally miles up in the air. You could be in an airplane and look Clover dead in the eye out of your window, and that is straight terrifying. But there are beings on this list that make even this monster seem pathetically small. Legend says it can reach around the planet and touch its tail with its head. The world serpent from God of War in Norse mythology lives up to its name. While its total length is exaggerated for the sake of mythology and epic storytelling, the actual size of this serpent, according to the recent God of War game, is still massive. No official information exists about its size, but some quick observation gives us enough evidence to say that the world serpent is many miles long. Plenty long enough to put quite the stranglehold on our big boy Godzilla. Staying in the realm of mythology and the God of War franchise, we have Cronus, the king of the Titans, well, at least in Greek mythology. Having the body of a man, standing upright on two legs, Cronus was large enough for an entire mission to take place on and around his body in God of War, coming in at 1,600 feet tall, 4 times larger than MonsterVerse Godzilla. The life of the space slug was boring, but at least they could grow to uber sizes. If this strange space creature didn't reproduce, which in its case means if it didn't split in two, the creature would grow to epic proportions. 900 meters or nearly 3,000 feet long. Not as large as the world serpent or another worm-like creature you will see later on this list, but still large enough to wrap around Godzilla multiple times. Are you ready to have your mind blown? Marvel characters have been in the forefront of storytelling for most of the last century, but not all of its creations are of common knowledge. Have you ever heard of the Apocalypse Beast? No, probably not. Me either. Well, you're about to learn about this guy. The Fantastic Four and Iron Man had a run-in with this monstrosity where they literally had to go inside the entity in order to fight it. 15,000 feet tall and weighing an absolutely ridiculous amount of 3.6 trillion pounds. Godzilla would appear to be nothing but a tiny little reptile the size of something like a gecko to us if he was to stand beside the Apocalypse Beast. Getting back to a more normal monster, Slaten was the largest and most powerful kaiju ever summoned to destroy the world of man in the Pacific Rim series. Showing up to take on the Jaegers as they attacked the breach, Slaten rose out from the portal and was a true sight to see, 596 feet tall and armed to the teeth. If you want to learn more about Slaten and all the kaiju of the Pacific Rim franchise, make sure to go watch this video after this one where I talk about all of them. Standing 200 feet taller than Monster vs. Godzilla is an imposing thought, but Slaten only managed to weigh 6,750 tons, which is a good 90+ thousand tons less than Godzilla. Sorry, Pacific Rim Kaiju, one hit from Godzilla would obliterate you. Marvel once again joins our list with Galactus, the Planet Eater. Galactus is the first and oldest living entity in the universe in the Marvel franchise, and such a title has to come with a mighty size. While this godly being can take the shape of anything that it wants, its actual size is said to be around the size of a star in its purest form, meaning Galactus could either be the size of something like our sun or many thousands of times larger. No wonder why they call this monster the Devourer of Planets.
The giant worm!
Marcus Phoenix in the Gears of War franchise is right, the Riftworm is one hell of a giant worm. Viewed as a god by the Locust, the race of underground lizard people that are the antagonist beings in this world, the Riftworm would burrow underground, forming monstrous caves and other vast tunnels that created the hollow earth the Locust lived in. To do something like this, it needed to be huge, and huge it was. Coming in at 8 to 10 miles long and a whopping half a mile across, this worm could have swallowed Godzilla whole and still had enough room for the G-Man to have a cozy good time. But if chainsaws could cut through the flesh of this worm, I'm sure Godzilla would make quick work of this world-shaping creature. We can't do this list without having a dragon. Introducing Enchelagon the Black, the mightiest and largest dragon in all of Middle-earth. You've probably heard of Smaug, the dragon from The Hobbit, a giant in his own right, but nothing more than a tiny fly when it came to Enchelagon. The Lord of all Dragons had no official size simply because it was so massive that no one could accurately measure him. The only thing we have to go off is that Enchelagon is said to have crushed 3 mighty mountaintops upon being defeated and cast down. These mountains, called the Thangorodrim, are estimated to be about 35,000 feet tall and 5 miles across. Enchelagon the Black's body laid across the entirety of that, so his size must have been something very similar. Not sure how Godzilla could survive this dragon, he's freaking massive. You wouldn't imagine the last monster on this list to come from the Men in Black franchise, but it does. If you don't remember, this being shows up at the end of the movie as the camera pans out from our planet, solar system, and galaxy, revealing the entire Milky Way is nothing more than a marble for this strange alien. The entire concept is a bit hard to comprehend, but how large would something like this be if it was real? Well, a size that we sure as hell cannot understand. The Milky Way galaxy is estimated to be 100,000 light years across. Light years are units of measuring distance that are determined by how far light travels in the span of a year, meaning this alien would have to be millions and millions of light years in size. And that concludes our list of 10 monsters and beings that dwarf Godzilla. Make sure and like the video, and maybe even share it with some of your friends if you are feeling extra saucy, and comment down below about other monsters you think are larger than Godzilla. Thank you all for your time. This has been Jacob, and peace out.